So I know it looks like I am useless with power tools, which is not 100% wrong, but in this case I am justified. This saw and a bunch of other power tools that I have in the shed are actually an indirect inheritance from my ex-father-in-law. He passed away this past year, and he was a contractor, but none of his kids and none of his grandkids had much use for or storage space for a lot of his tools. So my ex-husband very generously asked if I would like them. And I'm a homesteader, so of course I'm going to say yes to free tools. So this is my first time using this, and I was making it a lot harder than it needed to be to figure out how to drop the cutting blade low enough to be able to cut through these 2x6s. So I did what you're supposed to do, and I looked up the manual, and it really was a lot simpler than I was making it. So now let's try and actually cut these boards. right. For anyone who is horrified by the carnage you just witnessed, all I can say is, fathers, if you're watching this, please teach your daughters how to use power tools. To be fair, I can't really blame my father. He was a minister, and I have no idea if he even knew how to use a power saw. So sometimes the only way you can learn is by doing. And I got better. I never could figure out how you cut something long ways, actually, how you cut something with sawhorses at all without it just falling through or cutting the sawhorse in half. So that was about the best I could manage. And it's not great, but nobody's going to see it. It's just going to be under supporting the ramp up to the bridge. So I'm going to call it good and never think of it again once it disappears under these 2x4s. Let's try and set a couple and get the width established and go from there. I lost the plot on that one. boards again, and my camera went wonky, so I guess we're done for the day. My math has failed me yet again. Pythagoras does not like me. So I still need about 2 more 2x4s for each side of the ramp, and then about 8 more for the deck. So we're looking at about 12 more boards and just screwing those into place. So that shouldn't take long once I pick them up. I do have my pottery class tomorrow night, so I won't be able to go after work, but I'll check and see if they have them in stock, and maybe I can run and get them on my lunch break tomorrow. But we're getting closer. It's almost done, and the chickens are moved and settling in, although I am finding out that Henry is less of a ladies' man and more of a sexual predator, and I may have to do something about that, but we're not doing it tonight. Alright, so I ran out on my lunch break and got the last boards that I need for the bridge. I now have 45 minutes before I have to leave for my pottery class. So I had Morgan bring everything out and get it kind of set in place. So hopefully all I need to do is run through, shoot the screws in it, and we're done. So let's see if we can get this bridge done finally. Oh, no. And yet, so far. I was a little worried when I came out because I realized that I had left 2 plain studs on the deck that I was using to estimate how many pressure treated ones that I still needed. And when Morgan had put the boards out here, he said there were just enough. So I'm thinking that's going to suck. I'm going to need at least 2 more then to replace those 2. But when I got everything spaced out, you can see it ended a little bit short, but really for the distance from the ground to that first board, and I'm going to put mulch or something along here to give it to finish off that off ramp. It worked out fine. So I was really excited. All right, I'm going to get this done. And I ran out of screws. I need probably another pound of those 3-inch 10 gauge or number 10 deck screws. There are a couple of fairly wide gaps where the ramps join, and this one I may need to try an angle. Although Morgan had suggested putting a triangle wedge in there so we could have the ramp face more down towards the shed so it's an easier on. So I may come back and do that at some point. But for right now, done, or perfection is the enemy of done, and I just need this to be done for now. So I'm going to pick up that other box of screws. Probably tonight I'll run by the hardware store on my way to class. But for all intents and purposes, the bridge is complete. All I have to do now is drive over it with the mower, but it's still a little wet to have the mower out. It'll tear up the lawn. So hopefully in a couple of days. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Actually, I do kind of know what I'm going to do tomorrow. We've got to work on the compost bins, and I've got to work on the front garden beds. Those 2 projects need to get done this week, so I hope you'll come back. James hopes you'll come back and see what we get up to next.